What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my Week 4 preview and predictions video for the Big Ten Conference. There are a lot of interesting games in the Big Ten this week. Some games that could have a huge impact on the race for the Big Ten championship game. Not really a whole lot of ranked versus ranked or good record against good record. There are a couple. But again, there are just a lot of big games that are really going to impact who might get a spot in the Big Ten championship game. You can see how my predictions have fared last week and overall this season. Last week I went 5-1. That notable loss was that upset of Maryland beating Penn State. To be fair, I do not think anyone saw that one coming. So I think I am safe there. Overall, for the season, I am 13-6, so I am just above 66%. I think that might be around 68 or 69%, which I think is pretty good for 19 games. I'm not sad about that at all. Hopefully, I can boost that record this week. All right, and just a reminder, I did upload my Ohio State fan reaction video earlier today. You can go check that out if you'd like to, but I just talk about the impact of what canceling this game really means. But for those of you that didn't watch that video, Ohio State and Maryland, that game is getting canceled due to COVID-19. It will not be rescheduled as per the Big Ten rules. They just don't have space to fit in another game anywhere on the schedule. I talked about a little bit, but this is a significant loss for both teams. This was definitely going to be a very interesting game to watch. Maryland was one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in Big Ten football, while Ohio State was coming off in what I would consider and what people might consider a disappointing showing at Rutgers, especially towards the end of the game. So hopefully both of these teams will be able to get back on the field next week. I don't see why Ohio State wouldn't. Maryland is the one that had the COVID issue, so let's hope that they can get back on the field next week. All right, now into the games that are going to be taking place. This one is slated to kick off tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to happen on Fox Sports 1. Again, it's the Friday night game. It's the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. This is an interesting matchup. Both teams are 1-2, and both teams really have not performed up to expectations. I think people expected Iowa to be a little bit better, and people definitely expected Minnesota to be better. So it's two underwhelming teams. Iowa, you see there, is the favorite by 3.5 points, and I think for good reason too. Minnesota's defense has just not played as well as it did last year. I know they lost a lot of people on defense, and it's not going to be easy to replace guys like Antoine Winfield and company, especially in the midst of a pandemic. But again, saying that, I am going to give the win here to the Iowa Hawkeyes. That 49-point performance against Michigan State, I think, really is the epitome of this Iowa offense. And if they can keep that going against Minnesota, I think this could be an offensive shootout. Iowa's also got a better defense than Minnesota does. Just look at the stats. They prove everything. Minnesota statistically is one of the worst defenses in the Big Ten, while Iowa has one of the better defenses in the Big Ten. And I think the defense is surely going to win the game. If Minnesota wants to win this game at home, their defense needs to step it up. This is why I'm giving the win to the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right, all right, let's go to the Saturday games. Now there are, count them, 5 of them. Considering that Ohio State, Maryland got postponed. This game is at noon Eastern, and it's going to take place on ABC. The Indiana Hoosiers, who are now up to 10th in the nation, their highest AP ranking in a very, very long time, facing the Michigan State Spartans. Indiana finds themselves undefeated coming into this game on the heels of a big matchup against Ohio State that I will talk a lot more about next week, as it is slated to be a very, very big game. You see Indiana is the 7-point favorite here, that over and under being 51.5. Again, all odds and lines are as of recording this video. Indiana is a team that I thought was underrated coming into the season. I didn't think they would be this good, but I thought that they would be pretty good. They just ended their streak with Michigan beating them. That was an absolutely huge win for Indiana. Michigan State is coming off a disappointing loss against Iowa, and we saw the Michigan State team again that can't hold on to the football. I think they have 10 or 11 turnovers in 3 games, which is not a good number at all. Now, the other time Michigan State played a fairly decent team in Michigan, they played pretty darn good. And that was the Michigan State that everyone or every Michigan State fan wants to see. I don't know if they're going to be able to get there against Indiana. I think Indiana is a better football team. They showed that against Michigan. And while Michigan State beat Michigan, I don't think that they're going to be able to beat Indiana. Indiana's got a really high-powered offense that can score a lot of points and a defense that can force turnovers. If Michigan State wants to have a shot in this game, they can't lose. They can't lose the turnover battle. They got to make Indiana they got to force Indiana to commit some turnovers. But I don't see that happening. I see Indiana winning this game. This is another really interesting game. Who thought Penn State would be 0-3 coming in to this week? If you raised your hand, no, you're lying. You are wrong. Penn State finds themselves 0-3. Nebraska finds themselves 0-2. Someone's going to get a win this week. Again, the Penn State and the Lions go on the road to Lincoln to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska's played one less game because they were slated to play Wisconsin before COVID hit Wisconsin. This game is going to be at noon Eastern time on Fox Sports 1. Again, this game is on Saturday. You see Penn State, the 3-point favorite. I think Penn State opened up as like an 8 or 9 point favorite. And it's dropped all the way down to 3 as of recording this video. See the over and under being 56.5. Now, I know there's talk of the backup quarterback coming into play for Penn State, but it does sound like Sean Clifford is still going to be the guy for Penn State. While on the other hand, to Nebraska, Luke McCaffrey is going to be the starter in that game, which I think is huge. I thought Adrian Martinez would be better this season. Turns out he isn't. I haven't been a huge fan of Adrian Martinez, and I know every single Nebraska fan I've ever talked to has said otherwise. I just don't think he was that great of a decision maker. He's a hasty decision maker. And I think we're going to get a glimpse of the future here in Luke McCaffrey. And I think it's why Nebraska's going to get the win. Yes, I know Penn State's going to start 0-4. I am predicting the upset here. And before I talk more about why I think Nebraska's going to win, I do want to give my thoughts and prayers out to Journey Brown, who, if you haven't been keeping up with college football news recently, he has retired from football forever, was one of the best running backs in the entire nation, definitely the best running back in the Big Ten, and he can no longer play football because of a heart condition. So I'm sending all of my thoughts out to Journey Brown. I wish him nothing but the best in whatever he can do. That is really, really sad and heartbreaking news. But back to this game. Again, I think we're just going to see a glimpse of the future with Luke McCaffrey at quarterback. I think with Luke McCaffrey at quarterback, yes, he is a young guy, and I don't expect his game to be perfect, but I think he's slightly better than Adrian Martinez, which is why I think Nebraska's going to get the win. Penn State has not looked very good the past 3 weeks, albeit they did put up quite a fight against Ohio State, but everyone always gives Ohio State their best. I do not think that Penn State is going to show up this week either, and again, Nebraska's going to get the win. All right, the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights are slated to face off this week as well. You see Rutgers there being the 7-point favorite with the over-under being 52.5. This game is on Saturday at noon Eastern time on the Big Ten Network. And I got to tell you, this one is pretty easy for me, so I'm just going to go out there and say it, and then I'll talk a little bit about why. But Rutgers, I feel like, is going to win this game. Illinois has just not played up to what I thought they could be. I thought they could be a much better team. Turns out they are just struggling everywhere. Statistically, they're the worst in the Big Ten. I don't see them getting in the win column anytime soon with Corin Taylor at quarterback. This is going to be the last game that Brandon Peters is going to have to sit out because of the positive COVID test. So he will get back on the field next week. But I do not see how Illinois is going to be able to beat Rutgers in this game. Rutgers is just better offensively. I think they're better defensively. And Rutgers doesn't even have that terrific of a defense. And I still think that Rutgers is 10 times better defensively than Illinois is. I know Illinois is going through some struggles That 7-point spread, I think, is an underestimate. I think Rutgers is going to blow this game wide open. They showed a lot of tricks last week against Ohio State, and it did get them some points. I think they need to keep going into that bag of tricks to have some success. Greg Schiano obviously knows what he's doing, and that's why Rutgers is going to get the win this week. All right, and now because the Ohio State-Maryland game did get postponed, there are no afternoon games in the Big Ten, and by that I mean games slated to start at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or around there. So we're going to move straight into the nightcap games. This one is the primetime game on ABC, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If that's what primetime is, if you didn't know, it's the Wisconsin Badgers ranked 13th in the nation against the Michigan Wolverines. Wisconsin is finally slated to get back on the football field after dealing with the COVID issue. Again, the only game they have played is against the worst team in the Big Ten in Illinois. So not a huge win for Wisconsin, although they looked really good in that win. Now, statistically in the Big Ten, I know it's one game, but one of the best offenses, one of the best defenses in the Big Ten, if not in the entire country. Wisconsin definitely has a lot to prove coming into this game. They said, hey, we've had a lot of weeks to prepare for this team in Michigan, and it's a Michigan team that definitely just doesn't look great at all. And I think the problem is not offensively. I think offensively, with Joe Milton at quarterback and just all the weapons he has around him, the offense can be pretty good. I think the issue for Michigan is defensively. I don't think that their defense is playing to what they want them to be. Again, the handsy defense is getting them a lot of pass interference penalties. And I do think Wisconsin is going to be able to win this game. I think it's going to be close, though. I think Michigan's going to have something to prove after that loss against Indiana and then the loss again to Michigan State. Again, respectively, not or in consecutive weeks, just flip them around. And for Wisconsin, starting 2-0 is huge, and they cannot afford to lose a game to COVID or just to lose a game, period, if they want to make the Big Ten championship game. The game with Purdue is slated off, and if Purdue ends up beating Northwestern, Purdue could go undefeated, but so could Wisconsin. Then who do you decide from there? It's going to be a big mess if that were to end up happening. But I do think Wisconsin is going to get the win here, just a much more talented team overall. Now we get into game of the week. And yes, this is game of the week in the Big Ten. In my opinion, I know some people might pick Wisconsin and Michigan, but I ruled that one out rather quickly. I was more so deciding between Northwestern, Purdue, and Ohio State-Maryland. Well, the Ohio State-Maryland game ended up getting canceled. So here it is, game of the week, Northwestern at Purdue. The race on top of the Big Ten West. Both these teams find themselves undefeated coming into this game. Northwestern is 3-0. Purdue is 2-0. The winner of this game likely will be ranked in the AP poll, as Northwestern is this week. The loser, likely not. Northwestern favored by 2.5. And I think what's going to come down to in this game is the defense. It sounds like Rondale Moore is going to be back playing in this game, although no official news has been released yet. This game is going to be, sorry, I did not mention this. This game is going to be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Big Ten Network. This is going to be a great game. Two pretty darn good offenses going at it. Of course, Peyton Ramsey over there, Aiden O'Connell over there, but it's more the weapons around Aiden O'Connell that make up this Purdue offense. This one's going to be tight, but I am going to give the win here to Northwestern. I do think that the defense is going to be a big story in this game, and Purdue's defense hasn't looked the best. I think Northwestern's offense can put up a lot more points than they have in past weeks. They have only put up 21 points in each of the last two appearances. I think that Northwestern is going to I don't know. This game is going to be very close. I just feel like Northwestern's defense is going to make some plays. Statistically, one of the better defenses in the Big Ten. I think the defense is just what's going to get Northwestern this win. I cannot overstate it enough. But Purdue's offense may just score too many points for Northwestern's offense to try to score. This one's going to be close, but I am slightly leaning towards the Northwestern Wildcats to win the Big Ten game of the week. All right, that is going to do it for my Big Ten Week 4 predictions. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you are brand new to the channel or you just enjoy my content, and turn that notification bell so you do not miss an upload. And you can join Tailgate Nation. Also leave a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on this week in Big Ten football. Feel free to give me your predictions. And please share this video with everyone you know. I'm trying to grow the channel as big as possible. So again, share this video with everyone who likes Big Ten football as much as you and me. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder, and I will see all of you guys on Sunday with my week review. Goodbye.